Welcome to another episode of the Brand X Podcast. We are so glad you're here with us today. I am John, also with my co-host Deuce.
Come stop, bitches.
And no Jimmy. Because
Sans Jimmy.
Sans Jimmy, because once again, the Jimmy is like an enigma. You have to, he has, I'm starting to catch on to the Jimmy, his tendencies, his ways of doing things. And the Jimmy likes to complain about everybody else when they go out of town or they take vacation or they do something. So then when Jimmy wants to go out of town, he's afraid that people will be talking about him. He doesn't like that. So what he does, he sneaks out of town like a cat that shit on a rug.
So if people are actually talking about him, generally people talk about you if you're in town or not. So his theory is if people think he's in town, people won't talk about him?
I don't know. This is the Jimmy logic. So then what happens is I usually talk to the Jimmy once or twice a day. He usually calls me, what are you doing? What's going on? Tells me a story with this and that. We have conversation. Well, when the Jimmy sneaks out of town, we go, as a blackout, communication blackout.
Right.
Because
radio silence.
Yeah, I might ask questions. So this week, there was no Jimmy. I didn't talk to Jimmy. So I thought he was out of town. He had mentioned something. I was half paying attention, and I thought he was out of town. So as I was coming down the steps, I hear the ticking time bomb, his Ford, it taps. So I heard a ticking time bomb drive by, and I said, hey, I thought you were out of town. He's like, no, I only went for one day. How do I know? So what's going on? So I said, come on down. We're going to be recording. He's like, oh, I just got done work, and I want to get a shower because, he can't come down here because, it's just two guys and God forbid he's a little sweaty or smelly or whatever. Because this would have been a perfect topic for Jimmy today.
Well, he's putting on his best face for us.
Right.
It's very considerate of the Jimmy.
I don't care. Just want him to be funny and not breathe into the microphone like a mental patient. That being said, so we don't have Jimmy today. The topic today is toxic masculinity. And I can't wait to dive into this. Because it's going to be, I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of fun with this topic today. Ladies, prepare to be pissed off. Now, again, we'll talk about this later. So.
That's a great way to make half the audience just bail right out of the podcast.
How many ladies do you think we...
7 seconds in, what?
How many ladies do you think that we actually have listening?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know either.
I would use a percentage.
Okay. So let's say that 20%, let's go crazy and say 20% of our listeners are women, which that might be true. I don't know that. They've already talked about, they already know how we talk. They've already been through our shenanigans. They know who we are. Okay. So
what's this we shit? You got a mouse in your pocket?
Okay. Me. I'll be the bad guy. That's fine. Okay.
Speaking French?
Yes. Exactly. Whatever you just said. So let me ask you, I have a question for you already. Somebody came to me and said, I'll tell you what, I would like to write 5 minutes of stand-up for you, write a stand-up routine for you. If I did that, would you go up and perform it? Now, if someone asked you to do that, would you do it?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't do well.
You don't do well.
I can run a sales organization meeting. I can do lit drops when I was in a committee man, but something like that I couldn't.
You wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't get up and do it.
Nah.
And I said,
I mean, Christ, look at the struggle I have with the Facebook Live here.
Okay, yeah,
so
true.
It's like,
but see, to me, I'm like, yeah, I'll absolutely do that because guess what? It takes all the pressure off of me. If it bombs, his material.
So you need a patsy.
Well, no, I don't need anything. I don't need his material. He said if
said if it bombs.
Yeah, right. If I go up there and bomb.
You have a buck to pass.
Exactly.
So you
slide
need a
it on over. If that's what you say, okay. But if it kills, then it's my delivery. See? I mean, it would be the material too. But of course it would be my delivery.
That's pretty hypocritical.
I would say that's possibly correct. So Anthony from Who's Right sent me a message in Twitter and said, hey, if I write you a stand-up routine, would you do it? And I said, yes, I would absolutely do that.
So now you're committed.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
What are you going to do this at?
Well, if he ever sends it to me, if that ever happens.
Why wouldn't he? If he said if
I'll just go to one of the open mic nights and do it. and have somebody record it, and then we'll play it, and then we'll make fun of it, right?
I think we call that critiquing.
Oh, that's right. That's what you call it. See, I think
it's a French word which means to mock.
Right. What I would like, I wish there was some way we could get the sound system or something, or just have like you there or something with a soundboard. So as I'm doing,
I know how to run a soundboard.
You do on your computer. There's a soundboard right there.
Yeah, I'm like recording you.
No, I'm not saying no. You're not going to record it. Let me finish my sentence before you jump all over it. So what would happen is you'd have your soundboard, and we'd have some kind of speaker there, like I don't know what kind of speaker, like one of those ones that you would use for a Bluetooth speaker that they have. And then you would just sit there and have it hooked up, and then you would just hit this. Right. As I did my jokes, and then you have the laugh, and then maybe other people laugh too.
So you're trying to prime the pump.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that kind of deceitful?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. But how funny would it be?
Talk about having a pre-recorded...
Right.
A pre-recorded shill.
Right. In other words, Anthony's doing Anthony's material.
So not only is he writing the material, he's laughing at his own joke.
Yeah, absolutely. How cool would that be? Because most of the time, he will be the only one that thinks it's funny anyhow. I don't know that. I'm just saying, I'm critiquing before it's even happening. Mm-hmm. But even if he was the only one that thought it was funny because he wrote it, and then we had him... Right?
Seems like a lot of machinations. Can't you just go up and do stand-up?
I can, yes, I can. But wouldn't that be cool to have Anthony laughing at his own material?
Well, I guess. I mean...
No? What? I guess I have too much time on my hands to think about this goofy shit.
That could be true.
Right. Yeah, or we could have this laugh.
Well, everyone will know what that laugh is from.
Right.
You use Krusty the Clown while you're at it. I mean,
now, but Krusty the Clown's not going to work. I mean, this would work. Nobody knows that laugh. Yeah, see, that's no good.
That's condescending. A ha-ha.
Right. So, yeah.
So you're serious about going up there again?
If he writes it, I will go up and do it. Absolutely.
Are you going to use some Jack?
No.
Sans Jack?
No, because what I'm going to do, and listen, I'm going to take this seriously. He sends me material. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to study it. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to continue to practice it. So when I get up there, I'm going to give it my best.
How many minutes are you going to do?
Whatever he writes.
What's the time limit that they gave you?
I think it's 5 minutes. Yeah, know, you get 5.
Did you do what, 3:15?
I did 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Okay.
I think that was including walking to the stage. I don't know. But yeah, I'll practice it. I'll try to get timing down and really put I'll really throw my back into it and see if I can make it happen.
Don't hurt yourself.
Well, we'll see. Every once in a while, you got to sacrifice yourself for your craft. But I would do it. I would get up there and try it. And it would be so cool. Like if you had a laptop and a wireless Bluetooth speaker. And as I'm doing, as I get to the punchline of the joke.
So how many guys routinely walk into a comedy club with a laptop under their arm, busting that out?
Listen, can you just try once and go with me? I mean, don't you think?
See, that's the problem with me is because the logic center of my brain just stands up and says, that's not really feasible.
It is. How is that not feasible?
Well, just the whole, like I said, the comedy club aspect. You're just going to you have this crowd of people walking in, looking to have a good time, have a few drinks.
Right.
And here comes some geek with a laptop.
We could do this. Listen, while I'm waiting to go up and other people are going up there, we could just put the speaker closer to the stage, and just.
Yeah, do you think the club would have an issue with that?
I don't know. How would they even know?
Oh, I'm sure they would know. I mean, you're sitting at a table and,
I mean, you could have it near the stage. You could put it under the table. You could sit it on the floor under the table.
So it's like Anthony under a blanket then.
Well.
It would feel muffled and shit.
I don't know that. I mean, you don't know.
Like he's in a box.
Right. I think it's a fabulous idea. Okay. And then we record it.
See if he sends you the...
I don't know. I don't like your enthusiasm about this.
No, I'm not enthusiastic about it at all.
Well, I think I might have to find somebody else to do it. I can take my own laptop and my own stuff and have somebody do
it. Run back and forth.
No. Although I could use
be funny.
I could use my phone with the thing on my phone and just hit it as I don't know. I'm sure I could find somebody that would go with me and do this.
Yeah, there's always a willing accomplice out there.
I don't think I like your attitude, to be quite honest with you. I don't think you have enough gumption to do it and actually put forth an effort to make it a success.
I'm pretty sure I'm working that night.
Okay. Pretty sure you are too.
We are getting a lot of overtime now.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right.
In fact, I dodged a bullet this morning. They tried to call me. I flipped off the phone and rolled over like, fuck you.
Right. I'm
not doing that.
Right.
They may try to get me tomorrow, which would be even worse.
Really?
No, I'm going to be up late tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because you got to come in. Yeah, and that's you got to get up. You got to shit. You got to eat your cornflakes.
Oh, no, I'm off tomorrow.
Right.
But after I've done this,
right, I'm
going to see the Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, you're actually going tonight?
Oh, I'm fired up. I've been waiting for 5 years. So.
5 years since the last Avengers movie?
Ever since they teased the whole storyline and everything. It's just been this big build-up, and now it's here, so...
You mean the last Avengers movie was 5 years ago?
No, but the first one was in 2012, and that's when they teased the villain.
Oh, okay.
And the last one was in 2014 or 15.
Yeah, because...
But then there's a shitload of movies that have come out in between.
My kids and my ex-wife are into this, too. They have their tickets. They're going to see it Sunday night, So I have to... my son doesn't go. So I'll be, we'll be hanging out.
Why doesn't he like superhero movies?
No, he's not. He's not big into all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So, anyhow.
I don't think I like his attitude.
I hear you. I understand that.
So that's what I'm doing. So I will be going to the 10 o'clock show.
Oh.
So as soon as I get done this, I'll be motoring.
Scampering on out of here.
I could have been seeing the 7 o'clock show, but I am dedicated.
I appreciate
Here I am.
I appreciate your dedication to this, not as much to the stand-up. I have a Dunkin' Donut update. Of course, I fix things.
Oh.
I'm a fixer. So now, even if they can't speak the language and understand the language, I can still get my coffee and my iced tea the way I like it.
How did you go about doing that?
I outsmarted them. Because if they can't figure out what to put the fuck in it, all I do is I say, can I have a coffee with cream only? And do me a favor, give me some sweet and low on the side. So they do that. They hand me the packet. I put the sweet and low in myself. Yes, that's what I do.
That's usually hard to do at a Dunkin' Donuts because they always insist on fixing it for you.
I understand that, but if they don't know, and when I get up to the window, I say, "Oh, excuse me, can I have 5 or 6 packets of sweet and low?"
5 or 6?
I'm just saying. I just picked the number out of the. There's iced tea, an extra large coffee, and a large iced tea.
Sweet, man.
Well, you drink black coffee. You're
a man.
I don't know. Let's back it down there, Junior. I don't know about a man. I mean, just because you like your coffee, like it's like rubbing your tongue across a table.
So if you drank coffee black, you wouldn't have these issues with sugar.
Yeah. Okay, right. But I do. So I fixed it. I've done it 3 times
Why
now.
don't you just start backing it off instead of doing 18 packets? Back it down to 15 and do a gradual withdrawal.
I put 2 in my 24-ounce coffee. I put 2 sweet and low in my 24-ounce coffee. And I put 1 in my
What's the count on sweet and low? It's something like 10 times sweeter than sugar?
That's the other stuff. It's
an amplified.
It's 200 times sweeter. The blue, whatever that's called. I forget what it's even called now.
Well, there's stevia. There's
that's horrible too.
Aspartame.
Aspartame is 200 times sweeter than regular sugar,
which is saccharin.
Regular sugar.
Sweet and low is saccharin.
Yeah, I think so, or something like that. Whatever it is. So yeah, actually, I am trying to back it down. But what I'm saying is, I get 5 or 6 because then what happens is then I take the extras and I put them in the truck in my little.
And they stay there forever.
Well, if I forget, then I have them.
How many are in your old truck?
I didn't do this with the old. I just started this.
Oh, okay. I thought I just thought you were a condiment.
No,
sweet and low hoarder.
No, I don't.
You think you go around hoarding shit?
No, I do not. No, of course not.
There was a catering hall. My cousin was getting married before Diane and I. It was the year of the weddings. He got married in May. We got married in August. And we went to an event that was going to be at the catering hall that they were planning to use. So Diane and I are there, and they roll out the food and everything, and we go up. And up at the snack bar where the cake table and the cookies and everything were, they had all sugar packets and sweet and low packets from Burger King.
Huh.
Yeah, so I mean, talk about Skoostamad. So I mean, it's just
Skoostamad. What is
Skoostamad? So I mean, it was like what is
Skoostamad mean?
Skoostamad? It's like Italian for like you're a real lowlife.
Okay, all right.
You know? It's just like, you know, it's like the guy with the pie that I told you about. He brings the pie to the party.
Right. Oh, and takes it home.
Yeah, he's there an hour and a half. We didn't cut it as fast as he wanted it to be cut.
So he just
said, well, I guess no one's going to eat this. And he picked his pie up and he went home.
Like a Skoostamad.
Skoostamad.
Okay.
That's what a Skoostamad. So there's all sugar packets and sweet and low packets. And I think there was even like mayonnaise and, or rather ketchup packets. And they all had Burger King emblems on. So we had to so we got a hold of my aunt and uncle to like pass the word on.
Right.
I'm like, they may want to reconsider getting married at that place because.
See how people are? Like, who knows? They could have bought them from the place that.
Well, I think they put that Burger King out of business because now it's a pancake house. It's on the White Horse Pike in Clementon.
They made a Burger King a pancake house? You think?
Yeah, some kind of breakfast diner thing. They advertised pancakes on it. You know where the White Horse Pike in Clementon?
Yes, I do know.
That Burger King was there for 1 million years.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's closed now because the catering hall up the street stole all their sugar packets, I guess.
Sugar, all the condiments. Where are all these condiments going?
Put them all under, yeah. That's why you have to, lock restrooms up. Keep people from coming in.
That's true. But you really don't know how to... Well, now they have these... I don't want to get into this whole thing about condiments, but I'm saying is like now, like you have the ketchup pump that you get the little cup thing.
Yeah, the little...
Yeah, we were talking about this today on the Hate the Wait podcast, where, if you have like a chicken nuggets and you get a sweet and sour sauce or a barbecue sauce or a hot mustard or something like that, they have that little cup, for dipping.
Yeah,
but not ketchup.
Plastic cap.
Ketchup, we're back to the 1950s packets. You got to tear them and squeeze them out on something. Yeah.
Probably because I would assume that...
They're lazy.
Well, no, because ketchup is probably the most popular condiment and people would just be squirting the shit out of it all over. They'd be taking it home with them.
Dude.
They'll wind up at the catering hall.
Be at the catering hall, So... This brings up this just jarred again. Something fell out,
shiny,
fell off the shelf in my memory. So back when I was about 15 or 16, around here on Saturday nights, the big thing to do for me and my friends, we used to go down to there was a dirt racetrack, called Bridgeport Speedway.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so we would go there, and what we would do because we were assholes, we would go down to the.
Yeah, you grew out of that,
right? We would go down to the concession stand, and of course, they had the packets of the ketchup and the mustard and stuff like that. And we would grab whatever we were eating, and we'd grab extra ones.
And run over them or step on them.
We would step them or squeeze on them and shoot them out on people that were in front of us.
Yeah, that's great.
Right, like real assholes. So, I'm saying that was in 70.
You were 19?
No, I was like somewhere around 14 or 15 or something like that. So
old enough to know better, but not quite old enough to think the whole thing through.
Right, but that was like in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
And here we are now. Ketchup's, it might even be the same box of ketchup for all I know. But what I'm saying is that you think they could upgrade the ketchup. That's all I'm saying. This is my thought pattern. But I'll never forget the one time one of my friends did that, and he's such an asshole. He's sitting right behind the guy, and when he's holding it, he's squeezing it, it comes out like a zit. No, it comes out. Well, a couple times that's happened too. When they squeezed it, came out the other end and went all over them.
Yeah.
So he squeezed it, it shoots out and hits the guy in the back of the neck, and the guy turns around, and the guy just reached and grabbed him and throttled him, because back then you could throttle a kid, you know what I mean? He shook him like a rag doll.
It's assault.
Yeah, today it would be assault.
No, I mean, the kid... That's assault. If you squirt something,
I guess. But so he shook the kid around a little bit. We were laughing our ass off, and then he let him go. And then we kind of just got up and moved up a couple rows or something. The guy's wiping the shit off his neck and his shirt, and that was it. There was no big, Now today, their cops would be called. There'd be 50 fucking videos of it.
Dick move that we used to do, Joe.
He would get arrested because he put his hands on a minor.
The dick move that Joe and I and a couple of other kids used to do. We used to hang out at the Echelon Mall when it used to be actually a busy mall.
Right.
Now it's the Echelon Morgue. But, this was before food courts. So the restaurants were strategically located all over the the mall. There was a Roy Rogers, there was a McDonald's, there was a pizzeria joint, a Chinese joint, but they weren't centralized. Now everything's a food court. So we used to go to McDonald's, and we used to get the McDonald's straws, which were like, you know, like a 58 caliber straw because they were like real wide. Yes. So you could like suck the shit. And we used to blow spitballs on people from the upper deck. I mean, that's a dick move.
So I'm the only one that's a dick. Of course, we all did that shit.
And then, of course, what's the most stupid thing in the world that any adult, I'm going to catch those kids.
Right.
Do you ever try to catch a kid?
Right. It's
ridiculous. Impossible. It's not going to happen. First of all, the kid's got the stamina of like Superman. They can just keep going and going, and they're going to wear you down.
Right. And you have you run like an old man. So even though you might be able to run, I don't know. Nowadays.
I did catch a kid when I was 23, though. So, but that might have been like, that could have just been a really slow kid. I don't know.
Could have been me as a kid.
Nah, he was kind of wiry. I did get him.
Did you really?
Another dick move we used to do. Did you ever go to the J.C. Penney's in the Echelon Mall?
Yeah, I've been there, yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with the men's room, but they had a vestibule in there.
We had a story about this, didn't we, about the men's room?
Yeah, did I tell this already?
Well, I don't know, because you said they had some gay activity in the men's room.
No, that was the Boskov. Oh, they shut that bathroom down. Right. No, the J.C. Penney bathroom, they had
no homo?
No homo. They had a vestibule in there, so you would walk in the door, and then there was another door. There's no windows in this thing. So we used to go in there, and like if there was somebody in there taking his shit, we would just turn the light on and just leave. So that was four guys in there
trying to wipe his ass in the
shitting
dark.
In the dark. And it was like, hey. Yeah. And of course, and this bathroom was like so isolated. Like no one really knew that bathroom was there. Like outside of kids, because kids just explore everything. Mm-hmm. And we still have to wonder, like, how long was this guy would be in there? So one day we decided to like test this theory. And we turned the light off, and that guy was in there for like another, like, we were placing everything, and he came out like furious.
Because the light was out?
Well, you're sitting there. How do you know you're done? You're wiping and wiping.
That's true. How do blind people know that they're done?
It's probably all raw.
Yeah. I never thought about how you know when you're done
but
wiping.
That whole time, nobody went into that bathroom to even help the guy out.
Honestly,
he had to do the penguin walk across the floor in the dark.
Think you can't pull your pants up?
Well, no, you're in there, you're shitting.
Okay.
You're not suspecting anything.
All right, they turn out the light.
Now the lights go out.
You finish your...
There's no windows in this bathroom at all.
It's black. You can't see a hand. I understand.
Right. Now, you have to get up in pitch blackness.
Well, first you got to... You got
to
feel around for the toilet paper.
Well, yeah, you got to...
All right, so you do... Yeah, so
you got to feel around for the door. Now you're like... It's like blind man's bluff. You're finding your way to the light switch.
Right.
With your pants around your ankle.
I don't know. Wait a minute. That's where I don't get this. If it's me, all right, so if this is me, I'm sitting in there, and don't get me wrong, I'm pissed off. All right. So I find the toilet paper, I wipe until I feel friction. Okay? Because
feel the burn.
You feel a little friction. And that kind of tells you're done. It's not 100%, but I'd give it about an 80 or 90% chance you're done. Now, I stand up, I pull my pants up, I fix myself in the dark, because, I might not tuck my shirt in. I fix myself out. Now, I feel for the door, I open the door, and I kind of just feel my way.
And it was a big fucking bathroom.
Well, that could be a problem.
Yeah, it was like 4 stalls.
Yeah, you got to take your time.
And 3 urinals.
Right, you got to take your time and kind of feel your way out.
And what is human nature's... every person does this. You go into a restroom, you decide you got to like go number 2.
Right.
You always take the furthest stall in the corner.
Right.
So 9 times out of 10, he wasn't like at the closest stall to the light switch. So now he's out like in the middle of the Louisiana Purchase, and he's got to lumber his ass all the way back up.
He's like Jose Feliciano trying to find his way out.
Good times. Times.
Yeah, exactly. The shit you do when you're a kid.
And then you get older and you realize that was a dick thing to do.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
I don't even think you'd be able to build a bathroom like that anymore without a window. Yeah, suppose there's a fire or something.
Well, I don't even think nowadays that they have bathrooms that you can turn the lights off.
They do the seal up. Like, it has that little key hole in it or something.
In there, yeah. This is the asshole kid protector.
Yeah, that's probably
right.
It's probably what it is for.
Exactly. So you can't do that.
Well, they also centralized it because back then there was, like I said, there was no. Now all the bathrooms were in the food courts.
First of all, thanks to We Have Merch. We have merch at wehavemerch.com. Go on over there and get yourself some Brand X gear. There is a ton of podcasts over there that are using them, and they have a bunch of different stuff. They have what's called Podcast Row over there. You have the Unwritable Rant, the Rob and Slim Show, the Shooting the Shiznit.
Who's right?
Yeah, I said who's right.
Just gotta make sure.
Okay, the Unwritable Rant, and
don't want to get accused of not promoting the show.
Oh, God forbid. Then you have Gareth's Rambling Ramblings. Boy, I'm glad I didn't name the show that. The Mole Man Show.
Gareth clearly has no trouble with a fat, lazy South Jersey tongue.
Well, like me. And then our friends, I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam, they just signed up over there, and they have something that's really cool. Again, all right, let me finish this up here. So what I'm going to buy from I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam is they have a travel mug, which is kind of cool because you can get your coffee and put in a travel mug, and I like the travel mug. Now,
for all the traveling you do.
Now, let me just tell you something. If you're a podcaster and you're thinking about doing merch, it is so easy to go over to wehavemerch.com. So we talked about having coasters. He listened to the show, and he sent me a tweet the next day, like 9 o'clock in the morning. He says, you have coasters? I'm like, really? Yeah. I didn't even have to send him anything.
Well, it was the same thing with the beer stein.
Well, I think I sent him.
It was the beer stein first because you talked about the coffee mugs. And I said, do you have any beer mugs?
All right, but I think
the next day we had beer stein.
Well, I think I sent him a text or something that said, hey, is it possible to get a beer mug?
And then did it.
Yeah, within 2 seconds. I didn't ask this time. Who knows? The next show, we might have travel mugs. I don't know that. But it's a really nice looking travel mug. And they have shirts over there. They have women's shirts and men's shirts for I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam. And the Mole Man has a couple of different coasters. You know something? We got to get on. We're really slacking here. We have our logo there, but we need some. We got to get you designing stuff. Yeah, you. That's right. I'm looking at you. Because you're the designer. You're the show's designer.
What do you want me to design? I did the logo.
If I knew what to design, I would design it myself.
What do you want me to put it on?
I don't know. I'm just saying. You get something to think about. Just roll it around in the back of that skull of yours.
Brand X boomerang. Here you go. Throw it and it comes back.
No, it's something like a different shirt. Like, I'm sitting here looking, well.
I know what how about Velcro patches? That would be awesome.
Well, you know what he did, and I'm definitely getting this. We're going to have like Brand X stickers, like we can send out to people that if they ever call the voicemail hotline, that ever happens, we can mail them a sticker. Or
Brand X pastries?
No Brand X pastries. What's wrong with you?
Well, yeah. How's that sugar thing going?
I don't think you're quite gathering the concept.
I get the.
I see. You're just
breaking
my balls because I can't eat sugar. Right. I got you.
I'm a bad friend.
You are a bad friend.
You know what I had before I came here? Sugar.
Did you? Well, congratulations. I'm really glad you had sugar.
I just sat down and ate a bowl of sugar.
Grabbed a packet of sugar, just ripped it off. And
stopped in at the Burger King, got a sugar packet, mainlined it.
Right. It's like the that movie Men in Black. You know, the bug would eat suger, put sugar in water, drink sugar water. That's what you are. You're a bug.
I really don't eat that much sugar.
Oh, you're just breaking my balls, basically.
Well, I eat chocolate. That's it. I mean, there's sugar in that, but I don't go crazy for sugar.
Okay. Well, anyhow, if you would like, and we would appreciate it, helps the show. And they got some really good stuff, not just our stuff, but there's other podcasts over there that have some great, the Unwritable Rant, what is that? The Flask, which is really, really cool.
The Hip Flask.
The Hip Flask.
Did you get yours?
No, not yet, but I didn't want to say anything. All right, well, I'm sure it's coming, but I didn't want to say, like I said, whatever. It was very nice. And, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't get it yet, but you got yours.
Pretty awesome.
It's pretty nice, right? So they have all this. Go over to wehavemerch.com. There's a link in the show notes. If you swipe over, there's a link in the show notes. You just tap that link and they'll take you right over there. And check it out. I think you'll really, really enjoy it.
You'll be glad that you did.
I think you will. So I'm watching, I guess I was going through Twitter today, and I saw something that just buttered my biscuits, just really chapped my ass. I've actually had it, but really now I'm just going to be like just a prick about this whole thing. There is now a term called toxic masculinity, or what we call being a guy. Toxic masculinity is defined by an adherence to traditional male gender roles that restrict the kinds of emotions allowable for boys and men to express, including social expectations that men seek to be dominant, hashtag or air quotes alpha male, and limit their emotional range primarily to the expression of anger. Now, that is actually a very accurate description of masculinity. Because I don't know about you, but growing up, I was taught, don't cry, you sissy. Don't show your emotions.
Cowboy up,
all that shit. We were taught that.
Yeah, it was a good lesson.
Right, exactly. But now...
You get picked on.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right. They extinguished bullying, so we don't have to worry about that.
Right. Because now there's all this bullying. Well, back when men were men and, and you were growing up, you were taught that, every once in a while you might have to take an ass whooping, but you got to get a couple good shots in.
Stand up to a bully.
That's right. You got to stand up to a bully, and they won't be a bully that much anymore. I've had it with this whole feminism or female thing where they're trying to take men and make them into women. And here's the other thing, ladies. You really don't want us as women. You want us to be men. You want the manliness. You're attracted, deep down, you're attracted to the manliness. I was looking at the Urban Dictionary definition made up by feminists to support the notion that just being a male is bad, and in turn allowing the continued hatred of men to support their own agenda and war for supremacy and privilege. So there you go.
You saw this on Twitter,
yes.
Who posted it? It was just someone there's a Dr. Jen?
No, I'm not picking on the doctor today, although I could. No. Every day, I listen. Now, these are one of these things where, some people you follow just because you can't stand them and you just want to see what bullshit they're going to come up with next.
No, I don't know anything I don't do that.
Yeah, I do.
I know. Well,
so every day I see her and she's
pretty petty.
One cunty tweet after another. Anyhow, I saw this and I just thought to myself, here's the problem. They are trying to take men now and pussify them so that they have feelings and emotions. And some guys, I'm going to tell you something, ladies, some guys will feed into this because they're trying to get into your pants. Like they'll show you, oh, the Sir Lancelot. Oh, yeah, I understand. I get that. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, they don't, it's not truthful. Yeah, they're just doing it to try to get into your pants.
They're putting on the game face.
Exactly. Then there are the other ones. They're the other guys that actually kind of believe this bullshit.
Well, you can almost tell them by looking at them.
Oh, I know.
They almost look like, and I'm not picking on the guy because he's not, he is not that way. But Larry, if you were to look at Larry.
Our friend Larry?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
He's a little.
Larry's he's ill. He's got a health issue, so he's very, very slight. He might weigh 110 pounds with a cinder block tied around his neck, soaking wet.
So you're saying that Larry looks like a pussy?
Well, he looks like one of those types of guys.
You could just say yes.
I wouldn't say he's a pussy, but
I think you just did.
I just said he looks rather like one of these guys that fall into that. Well, okay, if you want to use that, I wouldn't call it.
But what word do you?
Physically, that's what Larry looks like. He's a very slight, weak-looking person.
Okay.
And he would just go along the game. But Larry is not, he's the furthest thing from that.
I agree with that.
His appearance, because Larry.
Right. I agree with that.
We know things that he said.
Well, there are some people that are slight, but they can still be manly. But there's these other guys that are, again, they could look like a guy, but they have this feminine tendency and
just to interrupt, it says they can still be man. Larry looks that way, but he is very masculine.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Remember, Larry, Deuce says you look like a pussy, but you act like a man.
Yeah.
There you go.
John said you looked like a pussy, and you were.
I never said that.
Roll the tape back. You said, some guys could still act masculine, so you were inferring that Larry does not act
I had
that way.
moved on.
No,
I had moved on to a different type.
Your continual struggle with English.
I know you're trying to drag me down with you.
Your continual struggle with English.
I know you're trying to drag me down with you.
Here's your shovel. Keep digging.
No. You got caught this time, and you're trying to.
I didn't roll.
No, you got caught.
I've got time.
Listen, everybody, all you have to do is hit your back 15-second bar a couple times, and you'll hear what I did.
Yeah, you'll see that he fucked up. And don't think I didn't notice you strategically edited out my whole point about my insurance policy on the last podcast.
I did. Okay. And I'll tell you why I did.
Because it furthered my argument.
No. You would think that.
Yes.
No. Were we in an argument? It was boring. That's why I took it out.
You've done that a lot of times.
Rambling. Yes, I do. Because you ramble.
It always seems to be when it's a strategic point that it furthers. But you left your part that it says, "Oh yeah, you sound kind of douchey."
You go on and on.
I think I didn't miss that.
All right, listeners.
Because this is the John Show. I realize that.
Wait a minute. Oh, I edited it.
Easily replaceable.
Listeners, I'm sorry. What I did was I saved you from a long, boring, rambling.
Yeah, because you couldn't edit that down.
I did edit it down.
What did that take? That whole thing about the insurance policy.
It was 3 minutes.
It was not 3 minutes.
It was 3 minutes.
It was not. The section about the insurance policy was not 3 minutes. It was probably under a minute.
We were talking about using a public restroom.
Just like doing your stand-up routine. You thought it was longer than it really was.
You're right. You're probably right.
I know I'm right.
It was probably a minute and a half, and it probably felt like an hour.
It was not a minute and a half.
I was like, yeah, you know what?
But I did.
People don't need to listen. People
as
really
funny
don't
as
care
the last episode was, I did notice that it was edited out.
Exactly.
In fact, I remember everything that you edit down. It always seems to be like whenever I score the points. Because Johnny has to be on top.
This is not a tit for tat. There's no.
It seems like it.
There's no tally up at the end of the show. We don't see. It's not a debate show.
It's all right. I'm keeping score.
Okay, you do that.
Move on, John. You're dragging the show down.
Exactly. This might not even be in the show.
I'm sure it won't be.
Oh, I guarantee you it'll be in there. I guarantee it. So back to
toxic masculinity.
I can't even say it. Toxic masculinity. I just say that, guys. We have to start raising boys to be boys again. We just can't pussify.
Well, I don't think it's so much the parents' fault. I think this is done to them in the schools now. That's where 90% of it is. And then if you do try to treat your boy like a boy, to be a man, and he goes to school and then he says, God forbid, he should say or do something wrong or interact inappropriately with his fellow schoolmates, now you have to have a parent-teacher conference.
Right, I get it. But then the other thing is, too, that a lot of times, there's divorce, and then you have just the mother raising the son, and there's no man in there. Maybe he gets them every other weekend, if that, one night during the week, and he really doesn't get a chance to, the kid doesn't grow up around, he doesn't have a male figure to learn from.
I know two people very well, two couples, rather, that got divorced, and they're splitting the custody.
1 week he's here, one week he's there.
And
what a pain in the ass.
I have heard from both of the mothers that when they get that kid back from their father, he's good as gold. But I don't know what women are doing or what these particular women are doing, but in 4 or 5 days, they get disrespectful toward the mothers. And they talk back, and they're obstinate and everything. So it gets to the point when it gets close to that second weekend coming around, they can't wait to ship these kids back because they know that the father is going to tune them up. little attitude adjustment.
Right, exactly. And trust me, women, if you have children and stuff like that, there's a lot of times you'll use the father. You'll say, hey, listen. I'm going to keep this shit up. Yeah. I'm going to you know what? I'm going to call your father. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, assholes pucker, and then the bullshit stops. My ex-wife, still today, if shit gets real, real bad.
How old is your youngest now? 15, 16?
16. They're 16 now.
Yeah, okay.
The other day, she said, you know what? I'm going to call your father. No, because I don't play no games. It's go time. This kind of behavior is unacceptable, and we're going to have a discussion about it. Now, I don't go over there and smack them around. There's no reason for that. Mm-hmm. But, they're going to get a talking to. They're going to get the angry eyes. There might be a voice raised or two.
One of the best things about having a gun safe,
yes,
growing up, is I could lock all my kids' toys up in the gun safe. It's like, fuck you. Now you're really punished because there was no TV in his room. I don't like TVs in bedrooms. That's just the way I am. That's that to me, and it's my thing. I don't like televisions in bedrooms. Even now,
you don't have one in your bedroom?
No, don't want one.
Okay,
it's not what a TV's for. Not what a bedroom's for. Rather, you should have a TV in there. But my kid didn't have a TV in his room. He had an alarm clock that played the radio. That was about it. Clock radio. I mean, he's 22 now, but that's all there was then.
All right. So when did he get his first smartphone?
But I mean, he 4 years ago, maybe.
When he was 18?
Yeah, he had a little flip phone up until then.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, I was like, but
Ford Cleaver.
He had his game systems. He had all that stuff. Anything that when he was punished, he was cut off. And I used to get all the game controllers, the power packs and everything. Just open up the gun safe, right in. That's it. You're done. Fuck
and
you.
Does Diane have the combination of that gun safe?
No.
Okay, then that's actually, then it is done.
Yeah,
because
so she's
a lot of times they work on the mother.
Right. And it was like, no. So when he was punished. And it was like, none of these, like, you're punished for 2 weeks. And then, like, some parents, they kind of forget after about 4 or 5 days because by that time the kids are driving them crazy. Nah, Diane and I, we held firm. It's like, you are done.
Right. See, that's what would happen with me and my ex was something would happen. I'd lay down the law. We'd set a punishment and she would say, you know what? You're punishing me. Hey, sorry. You know what? We got to teach the kids something. Somebody's got to toe the line. When I get home, I'll toe the line. You have them for whatever time when they get home from school. Until I get home, you think you could maybe just, hold the line until I can get home from work?
Right. Yes.
But now you're punishing me. They're not allowed to watch TV. That's punishment for me. They're just going to drive me crazy.
I actually had to worry about my mother. Because the grandparents are always out to undermine your parental authority.
Of course they are.
That's their job.
Right, yes, because they're trying to get back at it.
And my kid knew because one time I was at work when I had the horrid, wretched store, waiting for a mystical visitor from the east to come in and purchase it.
Yes.
And I was in there just biding my time, drinking eggnog, getting fat. And the phone rings.
Eating pie.
Yeah, that's it. It's Nutty Buddies and Snickers bars. And the phone rings, and it's my mother. And I'm like, I heard that that you punished Wise. And who did you hear that from? Well, he called me up and told me. I was like, and then why did he do that? Well, don't you think? No, absolutely. Because he was trying to do an end run.
Right.
Or he was trying to do damage control because he had, unbeknownst to me, he fucked up. So he would call my mother up to do an end run around me, and that just made it worse for him now.
Right.
So now wait till I get home.
Right. So, okay. So then what happened was I had the same problem one time. My daughter called my mom. My mom calls me and starts telling me, well, aren't you being, I said, hey.
Yeah, is this the woman?
Exactly.
That used to whip out the wooden spoon?
Right. Is this the woman that used to wear the belt around her neck so she could get to it quicker?
Like it was a loaded 6 gun?
Right. And is this the same woman that when grandma came over and was telling you that you were being too hard on us, you were giving her a bunch of shit too? Is that the same woman that's calling me right now? She goes, well, I feel bad. I said, well.
That goes away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm raising them now. You're the grandparent. You're supposed to feel bad.
Yeah. You're just there to hand the $5 bills when I'm not looking.
Right, exactly.
That's a grandparent's role.
Right.
And then say, don't tell your parents.
Yeah. Shh, don't tell them.
Then you come home from the 7-Eleven with 9 comic books and an ice cream. Where did you get that?
Right.
Grandma.
Well, again, so that's what they're there for. So, so I just say that let's men be men and let's not dilly-dally and let's not pussyfoot around this anymore.
You know what it is? I think the most of it is because girls, it's quite obvious. Girls are very different from boys.
I remember why this. Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I remember what started this was the tweet was a guy holds the door open for you, and that's his way of showing you that he dominates you, and you're only allowed to go somewhere when he opens the door. And I'm like,
wow, that's pretty far-fetched.
No, you piece of shit. He opened a door because he was nice. He was actually that's what a gentleman does. A gentleman opens a door for a lady. A gentleman opens a car door. A gentleman says, yes, please go ahead. Ladies before gentlemen. Okay. So that is part of being a man. What's not part of being a man is abuse and, holding them down. A real gentleman treats a woman like a lady. Okay, so that's also needs to be taught. You just don't want to run. Just don't want to run in roughshod, or being dominating and stuff like that. That's not a man. Masculinity is where a man learns how to treat a woman like a lady, learns how to act around a lady.
Do you ever see a guy that can't handle anything? I mean, they completely just break down.
What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean by that?
Because of this masculinity.
Oh, yeah.
Like something, a little bit of adversity comes their way.
Right. They can't handle anything.
Oh, they just have a meltdown, and they're just like, they're as good as a piss pot without a handle. I mean, like, what are you doing?
There's a college in California where in the library there is a square box that looks like an outhouse. It looks like a porta potty. All right. And you go in there, it's a safe space. Like if you have to be emotional or something like that.
I'll safe visit if I light it on fire.
This is what I'm talking about. Now listen, ladies, if you want to go into your safe space over there and have a cry or something like that, that's fine. But dude, any guy that goes into that fucking safe spot, you gotta be kidding me.
Revoke the man card.
I mean, cut me a break.
The point I was going to make is I think a lot of, I don't know if it's because the bulk of the teachers in this country are women, and little girls and little boys, needless to say, it's an understatement to say that they're different. Girls, by and large, are very well behaved, and they're very eager to please. Where little boys,
when they're young.
Right. That's what I mean. When they're
until they get their period. And all hell breaks loose.
Well, that's a whole different thing. But even then, they're in school. Most of the girls that I went to school with.
You don't have daughters.
Well, that's a whole different aspect. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in the public schools or private schools, girls, every girl that I went to school with, for the most part, they were pretty well behaved in class. They really weren't any trouble. But when they're very, very young kids, kindergarten up through about 5th, 6th grade, boys have short attention spans. Boys would rather run around and play. And I think, and this is just my theory, I think maybe it's because the bulk of the teachers are women that they don't like the way little boys act. They want them to all be like the girls are.
Right.
And boys
it makes their job easier.
Well, boys just aren't wired that way.
No.
And they're trying to force this dogma on them. I mean, because that's pretty much what it is. It's a dogma, in my opinion. I mean, if I was in school nowadays, they'd have me and Joe and you. We'd all be on Ritalin.
Oh.
You never heard of anybody. That's just, what it was called back when that just said boys will be boys. That's what it was called.
Hey, listen, I went to school with real nuns. They whooped your ass. Like they were like ninjas. Like they beat you with everything they could get their hands on. Architect scale was those 3/4 rulers. They beat you with a pointer. They would beat you with a yardstick. Anything they get their hands on, they would whoop your ass with.
Yeah, made a better man out of you.
Okay, whatever. Not saying that every once in a while I didn't deserve an ass whooping. Well, yeah, so that, I mean, that.
The mistaken identity beatings always sucked.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever. Okay.
I used to get that from my parents. Joe did something wrong and I got to take the beating, or vice versa.
Right. And then when they found out that happened, what did they say to you?
Well, that's for all the stuff that you got away with in the past.
Exactly. So you never got away. Right. Yeah, you never got away with anything.
Yeah. So
it
was a preemptive beating.
Yeah, I think, ladies, if you're raising your kid, every once in a while, you got to figure out how to, testosterone up and, treat him like a guy. I know it's tough. But the same thing, if you're a single dad and you're raising a daughter, sometimes you got to step it down a little bit because, they're emotional.
Well, your job there is to keep them off the pole, like Chris Rock said.
That is true. That is true.
It's like you say, because they don't hand out awards for fathers, but if your daughter winds up on the pole, you fucked up.
Right. And I'll tell you this, my oldest daughter, she was a handful when she was, 17, 18. What am I talking about? She's a handful now, but she was really a handful back then. And I used to say to her,
"Well, this is your stepdaughter."
She's my she's my stepdaughter, but I consider her my oldest daughter. Right. And we used to fight all the time. And I said, something? You're going to end up stripping. You'll be a stripper. You will be a stripper because that's your attitude. That's all you easy. Everything's easy. Easy this, easy that. You have a stripper attitude. And you know what? One day you will be stripping. And she told me, and this was like a year or two ago, she says, you know something? I have friends that were stripping and stuff like that, and it was easy money, and I could have made that, but all I could hear was you saying, you're going to be a stripper. I know you're going to be a stripper.
So she wanted to prove you wrong.
She wanted to prove me wrong, and she stayed off the pole, and my job was done.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, you did a great job.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, parenting is hard. It's not easy. I always say never have more than 2 kids. Never let the kids outnumber the parents.
I don't know when this all started, because it's
what?
When parents just started to throw in the towel.
It's not throwing in the towel. In other words, they think that they're doing...
No, because what I'm saying is your parents and my parents,
right?
Anyone at our age, we all knew kids that were a handful.
Right.
But the parents stuck to it, and they made decent people out of them, by and large. Then it seems like, I don't know where did that happen, where they just said, oh, you know what, whatever you want to do, I don't care. And then they wind up having like these deviants as children, or like delinquents.
And again, all right, so there's, how many times have you seen this growing up? There's a family, there's 3 boys. Okay, just like it's your family. You're you, Joe, and Mike.
Right.
And you're growing up. And then all of a sudden, one of them was just the kid that was so defining, got in trouble all the time. The other 2 knew how to shut their mouth and get in line. They didn't get an ass whooping. So in other words, you would take, and your discipline would match the children. You just don't go beating on a kid to beat on a kid. You step it up. Whatever it takes to get the kid to conform.
But I'm talking beyond the beating aspect, the discipline aspect. I mean, like, maybe like a kid he was having trouble in school, and he would just get frustrated.
Right.
But the parents would stick with them. All right, we're going to work through this. I'm going to teach you how to do math, or we're going to hire a tutor if you need that. Or it just seems like lately, it's just like everyone's like, whatever.
They just listen, because there's no real teachers oh boy, I shouldn't say, there's no real teachers anymore. In other words, they just do what they do, and they get done, and they grade their papers and whatever.
Joe and I used to call them when we grew up, we used to call them the Sputnik era teachers. So in other words, they became teachers in the 50s, when teachers really didn't make a lot of money at all. There was still like that expectation. Once a teacher got married, she couldn't teach anymore, because all the teachers were like Miss Smith and Miss. There were no...
Really?
Yeah, that's a relatively recent phenomenon. That started to happen like in the liberation of the 60s. Like the 50s and the 60s, it started to change over and all that. But I hated every one of those teachers as a kid. When I hated my 2nd grade teacher, 3rd grade teacher. But you know what? As I got older, I realized that they were damn good teachers, and I can still remember them teaching some of the lessons that they taught us, because in my opinion, their heart was in it, and they became teachers because they did care. It seems like in this state, especially, where the teachers really make a shitload of money, contrary to what they'll tell you, it's just, I think they just got into it for buying, and this is going to open up a can of worms, but they got into it for the money.
Right. And the 3 months off and the days off. They work 180 days a year.
They work half a year.
Right. And they get full-time salary. And if they want to, they can work a part-time job during the summertime. A lot of teachers, male teachers, they have like lawn services where they go out and they cut like, I don't know, 6 or 7
The other
lawns.
option they can do is they can take less money in their paycheck, but
Right.
they get paid all year round.
Right. Yeah, a lot of them do that too. So don't get me wrong. I'll tell you right now, if I could go back and talk to...
If I worked 180 days a year, I'd be bankrupt.
Right. I'm telling you right now, if I could go back and talk to 10-year-old John, I would say, listen, you, shut up and become a math teacher. All right? And teach 8th grade math. All right? You'd be perfect for 8th grade math. And then just do your 20, 30 years, get your pension, and then, be done with it. What a gig. You're off every summer, every holiday. If the weather, if there's 3 snowflakes on the ground.
And of course, before we alienate anyone that's a teacher, I mean, I'm speaking on...
Hey, listen.
On New Jersey.
Good for you, teachers.
Yeah.
Good for you, teachers that actually got into that thing. We're jealous. Yeah. That's what we're jealous. Oh, my father used to work like all kinds of crazy hours. All right. When he decided to go back to college, I think when he was my age, he went back. He was younger than me. He was like 47, 48. He went back to college and he got his teaching certificate. And then he started teaching auto shop at a vocational school, high school vocational school. My father bitched about teachers. Oh, they have it, no, it's so easy. They do this. They only work this. They only work that. Then he becomes a teacher, right? And he's like,
now he's St. Thomas Aquinas,
right? Oh, you don't know how hard. What do you mean? I don't know how hard it is. I'm like, what are you kidding me? In the summer, you have off. You're fishing. You're doing this. You're working on your boat. What do you mean? I don't know how hard it is.
What I was going to say before you barged in with that,
I'm sorry.
I'm speaking on the New Jersey aspect of the thing. In this state, teachers are very well paid, and if they only have to work 20 years, I think, or 25 years. In other words, they can get out of college at, let's say, 22.
Right.
They become a teacher at 23. All right. They can retire in their 40s with full medical benefits for them and their family in perpetuity. And that's one of the reasons why this state's going broke.
Well, that's, yeah.
It's now you got a shitload of people that are only in their 40s that are immediately going on the dole. And it's a self-perpetuating machine because then they just hire more teachers. Plus, New Jersey hires, or there's an article that I read one time, and why school taxes in this state are so abhorrent. Every other state in this, let's say there's 2,000 kids. Every other state in the country will build 3 schools. New Jersey will build 5 to educate those 2,000 kids. So we've got a third more schools than we need. But God forbid if you even go there, because now you're against kids and you want stupid kids. And I said, well, we're basically not.
I don't see them any smarter.
Well, that's just if we were like turning out Rhodes Scholars, but I go into the Wawa or the McDonald's and they can't make change without the cash registers helps. I will question what they're doing.
I'm telling you right now, like my daughter, she took geometry. Now I'm going to tell you this right now. I was a horrible student. I barely passed by the skin of my teeth. In my class, there was 312 students. My ranking was 302. All right. I
don't even know where I ranked, but I'm probably down there with you.
I think the other 10 kids dropped out. Okay. So I might have been the bottom of the very, very, there's got to be one, right? So that was me because I never applied myself and I was.
Well, I was just going to ask you because looking back, I did the same thing. I said, you know what? Because now I go out and I talk to people.
Right.
And it's just like, man, these people have college degrees and they don't know their ass from first base.
Yeah. So. And what happens is you forget what you're talking about. So what happened was...
You were bottom of the barrel.
Right. I was the bottom of the barrel. And I see my kids today and what they know. And I'm like, what do your teachers do for a living? How can you go to school every day and do this and be this clueless on what's going on in the world? It just blows my mind.
Well, they stopped teaching history.
Well,
it's called social sciences.
Well, okay. But the other thing is... There's no current events. There's so much, like when you and I were home after school and after dinner, they sat down and they watched the news and you heard the news whether you wanted to or not because you heard what was going on.
Plus everyone had a newspaper delivered.
Right. So
magazines.
Yeah. So you knew all that. Now these kids, they have phones and they don't have to listen to that. They're watching YouTube videos all day about makeup, how to put makeup on and all this other crap.
Getting back, just ask you a question.
Sure.
When you were married and you were still with all the kids at home.
Unhappy?
Now,
yes.
Well, no, it's dinner time now. It's time to eat dinner.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What's the TV? Is it on or is it off?
It's on.
Okay. My house was off.
Okay.
It's like it's dinner time, turn it off.
So you sat down every night and had a dinner around the table.
You know, a lot of the jobs that I had.
Right.
I was, on the road or I worked long hours or whatever. But when we ate dinner, and Diane did the same thing, it's dinner time, TV off.
Right.
It's just like, it's time to talk.
Okay, so
it's time to be a family.
This is what would happen at my house. Every kid got whatever meal they wanted. What do you want? I'll have chicken nuggets and french fries. Okay, what do you want? I'll have pizza. Okay, what do you want? I want this. And
so your wife was running a catering service.
Exactly, okay? And then they would grab their food, and they wouldn't sit at the table. They would go in front of the TV set and sit there and eat. Now, Jackass would get home late because I was working.
Yeah, you worked tremendously long hours.
I would come home and then I would say, what's for dinner? And she goes, oh, I thought you were going to get something out. I didn't make anything. So then I'm trying to scrape whatever leftovers the kids left.
Out of the garbage disposal.
Right.
Chopsticks.
Right. So you work all day and you're like, well, you go over there. There's like 2 or 3 chicken nuggets on the sheet and then a couple French fries there. And then, okay, well, there's a half a piece of pizza. All right, I'll eat that or something like that. And so that's how my house was. So it was a free for all in that house. Yeah, there was no structure.
I mean, I'm not that old, but when I talk about this to other people they look at me like I'm like the old man in the sea. I'm just like I'm from another, like a caveman. Like, I was like, nah, it's just the way it was. It's just sometimes there's no school like the old school. Right. Just peaceful and quiet at the dinner table was great. And we still pretty much do that. It's time to eat dinner, TV off.
Okay. I applaud that. I think that's a great idea.
Plus, we don't have an abundance of TVs in the house. We have 2 TVs. That's it. One in the basement and the one upstairs. That's it.
Trying to think how many TVs are at that house.
Oh, you had 17 or so.
Let's see. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 TVs at that house.
For how many people?
6.
It's a little ridiculous, don't you think?
Yeah. Well,
it's
everybody.
Like Elvis is.
Everybody.
Watching all the TV.
There's a TV in the basement. Everybody has a TV in their bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in the family room, and there's one in the living room. There you go.
Yeah. See, it's just like.
Now, I have one TV upstairs. It's not even hooked to cable. It's hooked to...
Black and white with rabbit ears?
No. No, it's... I wish I could get that. It is hooked to the internet. So I have Netflix, Hulu,
got you.
Amazon Prime. Now, I have YouTube TV on my phone and my iPad. But for some reason, I can't... I don't have... Well, I would have to buy another... whatever stick that is you put in the back of it to be able to transfer it to my TV set. I don't have that. So most of the TV I watch is on my iPhone or my iPad. That's mostly what I watch.
Do you think because of all this stuff, don't you find more people are more detached now with all this technology?
I don't know that. I really, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm a hermit. Right?
Well, I know you. Well, yeah, but I know you love technology, but you don't really intermingle with other people outside of the world, outside of here. I mean, because you're busy with everything. Your empire.
It's funny. I always would throw myself into something. It was either when I was hunting rabbits, I had the beagles, and I used to run with those guys. And then when I started playing poker,
yeah, you're always a social guy.
Yeah, I would. When I was with the radio station, we would do. I would hang around with people that were in radio. I started podcasting. I have a ton of friends from podcasting. So I always had that. Like I talk to people. It's funny. I don't talk to people. I find that I don't talk to people, and then I need to talk to people because the more I talk, the better I get at it. So sometimes when we come down here to do this,
it's the most talking you do in a week.
It's the only time if I'm not talking to myself, there's no one to talk to. Like I'll text somebody or I'll send a message to somebody, so I'm communicating, but I'm not talking.
I find a lot of people that I interact with, like I'll go to the stores or whatever, and even in my line of work, I encounter a lot of people where I work, and not all of them are coworkers. You know where I work, so
right.
We're dealing with thousands of people, and you talk to these people just to say good morning, and they look at you like, oh, what's this guy up to? What does this guy want? It's just like people are so detached. And I know a lot of it comes in this part of the country that we live in, because if you get in like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania and go west,
right,
they'll say good morning to everybody. It's wonderful, actually. You just walk down the street, hey, how are you doing today, sir? And
I'll tell you right now.
And you're almost surprised, like, oh, hey, how you doing?
It's uncomfortable. If you live in this area and you go to south of, slower Delaware or west of Philadelphia, or anywhere out in the Midwest or something, they're so nice to you.
You only really go to and north of the Poconos. It's really not that far to go.
They're so nice to you, you feel uncomfortable because
not me. I like it.
All right, what I'm saying is, you feel like they're trying to get over on you because around here, if someone's that nice to you, they're trying to get over on you.
Yeah, but they're just genuine. Like I think it's
very hard to tell.
I think it's the Washington to New York. Because I've been to Boston. Boston was pretty nice.
Really?
They can't say their letter R's, but they're pretty nice about it. Yeah, Can't pretend you're a tiger to your kids because you go, you can't go, like a, But well, my experience in Boston was pretty nice. But New York I think it's that whole mid-Atlantic kind of a thing, hustle, bustle.
Even in the elevator business in Philadelphia and Atlantic City, and, it was like a nightmare. Because everything had to be done right away. Everything was a freaking emergency. Where you would move out to Delaware or something like that. It was like, if you can get it running today, that's great. If not, tomorrow we're going. You had that kind of flexibility.
And that intensity was always there. But now I find with everyone walking around with smartphones and tablets and everything, they're even more detached.
I don't know if I agree with that. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if I agree with that.
You stand in a line at a while. I just had a bag of sugar at the Wawa before I came in here. But I was standing out there and John's motioning like a pouring
a 5-pound
like
bag
a funnel.
But
I was standing in line just waiting. I got a cranberry juice before I came in here, so I was just thirsty. And I'm standing in line, and every single person, they're like so detached, just looking at the palm of their hand.
Oh, yeah.
Totally I mean, you could walk. I mean, if there isn't a spike in women getting their purses robbed right out from under their, I'll be surprised because I'm just sitting there looking at them like, look at these girls, and they don't even know what's going on behind them. I mean, I was waiting for one guy to just slip his hand in this, and I was watching them. Nothing happened.
Right.
But it was just like, it would have been so easy for this guy to do because he was practically on top of this girl.
Well, here's the thing that I will say. We don't have any downtime. Like, there's no waiting where we have downtime where we're not doing anything. Because as soon as there's a second, and I'm guilty of this as the next person, if I'm sitting at a red light and it's a long red light, I immediately start to look for my phone to see, to occupy that time, that 15 or 20 seconds before the light changes.
Now, my text thing will beep, the email thing, that'll chime over and over and over again. And then when I get to a stop, where might that, all right, now what's so important?
I hear you. Well, I mean, okay, so even like what I do here, like if I'm editing something and I'm running a process and it takes 3 minutes or something like that, and instead of sitting here, my 3 minutes, sometimes I can't do anything else because the computer's so...
Just got to wait.
Yeah, I got to wait because the computer's so taxed because of the amount of processing it needs the computer to do that I can't do anything else. So then I'll pick up my phone and I'll look at Facebook and I'll look at Twitter or I'll look at something like that. I just can't sit there for that 3 minutes. I can't. I have to. So for some reason,
can't get up and stretch or get something to eat.
Well, what was that?
I mean, just get something to eat, get something to drink.
Well, I guess I could, but it's just one of those things. I mean, I do that at times. Like sometimes I will do something like that, but most of the time it's right there. It's right in your hand. And now I have the.
You don't read books, do you? Oh,
no, I don't read books.
Just like
no, I
something real.
No, they put me right to sleep. That's a sleeping pill. You want to see me go to sleep? Watch me try to read a book within a page and a half.
Can't sit outside, like just kick back, read a book.
Nope, no. I'll listen to a book. I have
can't. Yeah,
no. I'll listen to it. I'll put it, my headphones on, and I'll listen to it. Or I'll listen to a podcast. That's my big thing right now. Is I listen to a ton of podcasts. I find new podcasts all the time. I listen to them.
I'm at work. I got my phone. And I listen to podcasts or I listen to music. Like I got my music list.
I get bored with
music.
It
drives people that I work with crazy because before I had the smartphone, I would bring in a book.
Right.
And read it. Now I've got this. They all like watch movies, TV shows that they're into, download it on their device. I was like, You're just sitting in here like watching, you're just listening to music or listening to a podcast. Oh, it's so boring. I would go crazy. I'm like, well.
I have a Kindle app on my phone, so I have books in here. What are the books that I'm actually trying to read and it's like annoying me?
Or listening to?
No, you read these on the Kindle.
Oh,
you read,
okay.
you read them on your phone. So here's the books that I have. I Only Roast the One I Love by Jeffrey Ross, because he wrote about a book about roasting. And then there's a book that I kind of bought the sample. Or I have the sample on. If it's any good, I will try to read it. And it's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And then there's another one, The Power of Self-Discipline, No Excuses, and The Leader's Toolbox. And that's it. So
no literature in there, huh?
What would I do that for?
No, nothing soul enriching or.
What, like what?
Or elevating? No.
What would be a soul-enriching book that I would read?
Ooh, I don't know, like the stuff they used to make us read in school.
Oh, God, no. Pride and Prejudice and... Oh.
They used to make you read that?
Jeez. Oh, my God.
Like Of Mice and Men? Never read that?
No.
The Great Gatsby?
No.
1984?
No.
What did they teach in your school? No wonder you were at the bottom of the barrel.
Let me tell you something.
That was all standard reading fare.
I forget what I don't remember. I mean, I remember one time, this was in high school.
The Count of Monte Cristo?
No.
Oh, see, you got to read The Count of Monte Cristo because when you read that, then you find out that he was the original Batman.
Okay. So you say.
Now you put it that way, someone might go read The Count of Monte Cristo.
So one of my clients, it's called Craftlit. What she does is she has a crafting part of her show where she talks about crocheting and knitting and stuff like that, and then she has a literature part.
So it's like a tutorial. Okay.
So then you do that, and then they play a chapter of The Count of Monte Cristo. All I know is that is one big fucking book because I think we've been editing the podcast for a year, and I think they're still on a stupid.
Oh, it's like about 1,100 pages.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like Lord of the Rings, which I'm sure you didn't read.
No.
Why would I do
I didn't even
that?
see the movie. Right. I didn't even see the movie. So.
Dune? Never read Dune?
No.
Yeah.
Didn't see the movie either. Right.
Well, you can skip that movie, but if you go to the miniseries that Netflix had on, that was much better. The movie was okay, but see, the mistake they made with Dune, it's an 1,100-page book, and they tried to make a 2.5-hour movie out of it, and there's just too much.
Yeah,
That's why Lord of the Rings was done the right way, and they did a trilogy.
Right. You're trying to pack in 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Right, and it's just not going to take.
Yeah,
you're going to lose people because of, what the fuck is this? Because they don't know. They didn't read the book. They're not going to have any clue.
Oh, I hear you. All right. I think we've beat this subject to death.
Okay. So let your boys be men.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I think we're going to cut this. I don't think we're going to do any of these stories. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
Why don't we do this one? Because I think, because this has been going on for a long time. Matter of fact, did you vet this story?
Which one?
The one about Katy Perry.
Nun slaying Katy Perry?
Yes.
Yeah, I vetted it pretty well.
So this is a new is this new?
It's been going on. Apparently there seems to be a trouble. It's in California. Right. And it seems like the LA diocese sold this convent to two different people. And Katy Perry bought this thing and she wants to make it let me just open it up.
She wants to buy. Okay. So
basically these nuns, there's a couple of nuns left, and this 80-year-old cancer-stricken nun has been left skint after legal battle with Katy Perry. And her fellow nun dropped dead in the courtroom during the proceedings. And with most of these stories, what's really funny is to read the comments that people make.
Right.
So you have your Katy Perry defenders coming out. It's really, really a horrible kind of a story because, this woman's in her 80s, and Katy Perry can really buy anything that she wants to buy.
Okay. I understand all that, but I'm so shocked you're on the other side. I'm so shocked you're on the nun side of this, to be quite honest with you, because basically what happened with this is this used to be a convent.
Still is.
Okay. You say that. So then what happened was the archdiocese said, listen, we can't afford this anymore. You need to sell this. So what they did was they sold this to a guy, and they sold it under the pretense that the guy would not sell it until they were all gone, and they could live in it until they were done.
They also sold it to the nuns. They had the nuns.
Where
had
the nuns getting money?
The nuns had a stake in it. So let me read the story.
Okay.
If you haven't yet chosen sides in the Team Taylor versus Team Katy battle, chances are Team Taylor is about to get a lot more supporters.
I don't know about that.
While Taylor's has nothing to do with the story, Katy Perry's recent actions are putting a sour taste in many people's mouths. Perry is definitely looking like the bad guy these days. Despite popping up as American Idol's most famous judge this year, she isn't winning points, helping struggling musicians find their voice. That's because she's too busy evicting and bankrupting an 80-year-old dying nun. Yes, you heard that right. A Los Angeles nun named Sister Rita Callanan can't afford to feed herself because she's been left broke by an intense legal battle with Katy Perry over the sale of the sister's convent for $14 million. Did I mention Sister Callanan is also dying of cancer? Katy Perry is buying the convent of the Sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, where Sister Callanan thought she'd be living until her last days. Roman Catholic Archdiocese of
Los Angeles.
My computer. I updated this last night. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
Perry claims a man named Jose Gomez, who says he owned the property, sold it to her in 2015.
It's been going on for 3 years.
Right. Perry wants the property so that she can turn it into a 22,000 square foot Mediterranean inspired property so that she can sip green tea and find herself.
She paid $14 million for this place.
Sister Callanan and a fellow remaining nun at the convent believe that they should have had the right to sell the property and have been in a fight battle which cost the life of one of the sisters. So one of the sisters... Did it really cost? I mean, wasn't she going out anyhow? So you read the comments. So you believe that? So
I haven't read one of these comments.
Because a couple of people, it was her day to die. So like the stress level had nothing to do with that?
Well, first of all, they sold the house. They sold this property to a guy, all right, for $14 million. He, in turn, sold this property to Katy Perry. Katy Perry owns this house. The archdiocese told the nuns to sell the property. They did. That means they don't own it anymore.
This is the problem. The problem is with the archdiocese.
Okay.
Because the two sisters had previously agreed to sell the property to a local restaurateur who they believed would have treated the property with respect. Concurrently, the archdiocese decided to sell it to Perry. So this is where the issue is.
Yeah, okay. So the archdiocese sold this to Perry. All right.
They sold it to Gomez, who then sold it to...
And then Perry even sued the local restaurant for interference, and the judge ordered her to pay $15 million in damages to be split between Perry and the archdiocese. So in other words, okay, so there's a judgment against the person that bought the property, from Perry. So they got $15 million to split between Perry and the archdiocese. So the archdiocese got $7.5 million. Why is this lady starving? Why is she can't afford food because she the legal battle? She got $7.5 million. Do
you know how much a nun makes?
They make nothing. They take a vow of poverty.
The nun didn't get $7.5 million.
So then why? Okay, so then why is the archdiocese? This is the archdiocese.
That's why I said it's the archdiocese.
Yeah, exactly.
Fault. She's appealing to the Vatican in this issue now. It's going to go. If she lives that long.
What they need to do is just pack her shit up and take her to another convent somewhere.
Or Katy Perry just couldn't wait for this woman to pass away. Where's she going?
I spent $14 million or whatever I spent. I don't even know how much she spent for this place. Okay, and now I got to wait for this lady to die. I didn't have. This is my fight. You sold me this place. That's your responsibility. Get her off my property.
So how do the optics look on this?
I don't care how the optics look.
Not too good for Katy Perry.
Fine. Guess what? I'll take a hit on the Catholic population. All right. If you can't understand the fact that your archdiocese sold this property to me, and now all of a sudden this lady doesn't want to leave.
The restaurateur that bought the place, she even got dragged into this.
Right, yeah, she got sued.
I want to know, yeah, because it's the archdiocese's fault.
Right.
I don't see why it's an issue, why she just can't, she's 80 years old. One of them already died. This woman's 80 years old.
This has been going on for 3 years.
An 80-year-old with cancer?
I don't know, Deuce. What I'm trying to say is it's already been going on for 3 years. All right. One down, one to go. She's got cancer. She's already ready to die. Move her on out. Like I said, it's her house. It's Katy Perry's house. She bought the house.
It's clearly not her house because it's held up in court. So evidently, if it wouldn't be going on for 3 years, if there wasn't some kind of, there's got to be something there.
I don't know what's going on with this real estate, what happens in real estate in California, but here in New Jersey, you go and you get a title, you get title insurance. You have a title search, and then you find out who owns what before they would even sell the house. And then
that's the exact issue because the property belongs to the church. So how's that titled?
They sold the church to this person that owns the restaurant.
The convent. They sold it to two people.
I didn't see that in here.
Yeah, the nuns had that's why it's between the nuns and Jose Gomez, who sold it to Katy Perry.
The sale of the sisters' convent for $14 million. Did I mention she's dying of cancer? Katy Perry is buying the convent. And the nun thought she'd be living there until her last days. From the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Perry claims that the man named Jose Gomez, who said he owned the property, sold it to her in 2015. Perry wants the property so she can turn it into whatever she wants to turn it into because she paid for it. Sister Callahan and the remaining nun, God rest her soul, believed that they should have the right to sell the property. But it was sold by the archdiocese, so they didn't have the right to it. And now all of a sudden, because you could sue anybody. I'll be honest with you, if they weren't nuns, they'd have been shuffled off of that property 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
And if it wasn't Katy Perry, you wouldn't take her side.
Oh, wait a minute. You think that I first of all, I have no love for Katy Perry.
Well, you seem to have a thing for celebrities.
That's bullshit.
You always seem to come down on their side.
That is not true. That's not even true.
And ironically, it's funny because the woman that was fighting Donald Trump in Atlantic City with the casino, you were all on her side, but Donald Trump bought her property, and he was a bastard because he tried to evict her.
No. They didn't buy her property.
Eminent domain. They tried.
So that's a different story. That's not the same.
And then he just basically built a casino right up against it.
Right up against it and right over top.
Yeah, okay, you can keep that.
Right, exactly. She didn't want to sell it, and they just said, well, guess what? We're just going to take it anyway. Yeah, I have a problem with that. That's not what happened here. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a thing about celebrity, and I haven't really
you always seem to come down on their side.
This is what you do. You take
what I do.
Yeah, you all of a sudden you generalize, because I don't think so. I don't think that there's any way that you can prove that I have a thing for celebrities. I'm not that way. I'm not even a fan of Katy Perry. But what I'm saying is the woman bought up a property. For God's sake.
She's trying to buy a property.
She didn't bought the property.
She says she bought it and of course this story is very streamlined. It's not very thorough as far as the depth this bears looking more into, because it's the Archdiocese of LA's fault. They botched it up.
Okay.
But the press that is there is like here's these women. I mean, they sacrificed their whole lives to be nuns, and it's just like, yeah, you can stay here until you die, and then they find out that that's not the case. You don't have a problem with that?
Let me tell you something. It happens right now, the way the Catholic Church is, and the way that the money's going down, and the Catholic Church owns more property than any other entity around the world. Okay.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure about that. I'm sure.
Because I think that might be one of those urban myths.
Well, okay. I'm sure you're going to go look that up. But what I'm saying,
sure I am.
Okay. So they're selling properties the Catholic diocese to make money or to survive. They're selling properties off. They're taking, like, when I was growing up and I went to Catholic school, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 Catholic schools in this area. All right. Now there's one. And they've all 1, 2, 3, 5. And I think there's 2 now. They've all consolidated down into one. And they have all these properties and classrooms and stuff like that. And what are they doing? Well, they're not doing anything. They have to pay tax. Well, I guess they don't have to pay taxes.
They don't pay taxes on it.
Right. So now they're starting to sell them off. And that's what they did here. And listen, this is a beautiful place. And she's 86 years old. I feel bad about that. But you know what? It doesn't mean she has to get to stay at this place. I'm sure they could take her to another convent. She would be just as happy there.
But she wants to stay at that one. And that's
you know what?
Promised.
Everybody, promise. Yeah, guess what? That doesn't always work out that way. Promises are broken all the time. This is a business deal. They made a business deal. And now Katy Perry's got money invested into this. She's paying lawyers' fees. And she wants this house. And it's a beautiful house. I can understand why she's not walking away from it. I mean, it's a gorgeous place. But, as far as I'm concerned, it's just very simple. You get a lawyer in here, 2 lawyers in here should be able to hash this out. I don't understand why it's taken 4 years. And now they're playing, she's got what?
I don't understand why Katy Perry needs to be such a hard ass.
I would love to see you buy a property and have 2 nuns sitting there, and all of a sudden they come to you, you know what? You can't take over the property until they die. And you're like,
yeah, that's what they were agreed. It's probably there's an agreement somewhere. Otherwise this wouldn't be an illegal.
Well, then why is this up for sale? That wasn't in the sale. In other words, okay, if they came to you and said, listen, we're going to sell you this property, but the nuns have to live there until they die, and you accept that, fine. That's one thing. But if none of that is mentioned, and then you pay for this thing and it goes through, you buy the property, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, by the way, you have to wait for this lady to die. 2 of them.
The number 15 in who owns the most property in the world is Ted Turner.
I can't believe Ted Turner.
14 is his Sheik.
Wait a minute.
13 is James Harper.
You know how many Catholic churches are all over the country and the world? Forget, Canada, the United States, Europe, all over the world.
And how many churches are in Muslim-controlled countries?
I don't know that, but what I'm saying is, you think that Ted Turner owns more property than the Catholic?
I'm just telling you who's on the list.
I would have to say that list is bullshit.
Pope Benedict,
right?
Number 3, and that's Vatican City. King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia,
right? Number 3,
830,000 square miles. Queen Elizabeth, they're not Catholic. She's number 1.
So you're saying that
6.6 billion acres of land worldwide, including Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Canada, Australia, and a few other spots here and there.
Maybe they dropped the number 3 after they sold off a bunch of properties. I don't know. But at one time, they owned...
No, I think that's one of those urban legends that I remember hearing being debunked many years ago. That's why I said, are you sure? Ted Turner's at number 15. He has 2 million acres in the United States. Thousands of square miles of hunting grounds in Georgia and Montana. And he has 11,000 acres of land in the Patagonian region of Argentina.
Really? Man. But she's trying to get rid of that now.
Owning the Atlanta Braves and CNN has been good for Ted.
Sure has. If I was him, I'd jump
He'd
off.
probably been number 7 after if you had to divorce Jane Fonda, that bitch.
Really?
Oh, Hanoi Jane?
I understand that, but I mean, you think that...
Oh, I'm sure she got a big...
You don't think that
Ted got a nice settlement?
You don't think that Ted had her sign a prenup?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, cut me a break.
Usually the prenups don't cover... They cover what you bring to the marriage. What you earn during the marriage is up for grabs.
Really?
That's what happened to Diane.
God, gold digging whores.
So I'm sure that, yeah, I mean,
like Bill Burr says, gold digging whores.
Yeah, it's just like any property that Jane Fonda had, any assets, any stocks, bonds, that's in the prenup. Now she marries Ted Turner. Any money that they jointly entered into as a venture,
she gets half.
She gets half. Sure.
Whatever.
Sure, it'd be that way. It's like right now. Let's say you crack the fuck up and you get married. Okay.
Okay. Let's
everything that you have in here.
Let's go down that fantasy road.
Well,
go ahead.
That's just the point. You got all your stuff here. You got your empire. She's going to bring her empire.
Right.
Now let's just say in between
the Brand X empire.
Right. You got the Brand X empire and she's got whatever she's got. You two decide to buy real estate. Like I did. You're going to buy a complex.
Right.
All right. You're married for 6-7 years. You buy that complex. Whatever you paid for that complex and whatever it appreciated over the course of your marriage, that's what you're splitting up.
Okay, that I get.
Well, that's what would have happened with. That's what would have happened with that Hanoi Jane and Ted Turner, that big wussy.
All right, I get that. I understand.
Try to do away with the Star Spangled Banner as the national anthem.
Who did that?
Ted Turner, jerk off.
Really?
Yeah, it was about 20 years ago. I don't forget. Might even be more than that. Yeah, because, the Star Spangled, we should do away with it because it's a war song. Right. That's exactly why.
What are we going to, what's it going to be? Camptown races? What's it going to be?
Camptown races all night long.
Doodah.
Yeah, he was an asshole. He's an asshole.
All right.
He wasn't always an asshole. I think Jane Fonda softened him up.
All right. We're going to end on this note.
Truth serum or something.
I would like to say to Deuce, congratulations on another year of your hex on the Philadelphia Flyers.
Thank you.
They actually went down in six games.
Yeah, 21 years and counting.
21 years and counting. Deuce has put on the hex on the Flyers.
Curse.
The curse.
The
curse. The Deuce curse.
A pox on them. In 1997. They got broomed in 4 straight from the Red Wings. That's when I invoked the curse.
Yeah, I mean, they really they have a lot of talent.
No cup for them.
And the coach is a moron.
I don't care. My team's won.
Who are your teams?
Well, the Eagles won this year. The Phillies won in 2008. Right. They got there again in 2009.
Yeah.
Hey, life is good for Deuce's teams.
That's true.
Yeah. But if the Eagles piss me off,
oh my God,
I'll curse them too.
Hey, don't you dare! Not my Eagles. All right.
Well, they've been cursed since 1960. It took a long time for them to break. Whoever put that curse on them. That just tells me either I have to die or Concussion Boy has to die. Then the curse will be lifted.
I think it might have to be you. I don't know that.
Yeah. Well, Concussion Boy's younger than me.
Yeah, by a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm a spiteful, vengeful bastard.
It's true.
I'll outlive him.
Okay. One would hope. All right, let's do some podcast shout-outs.
Okay. I'm going to require reading glasses for this.
Bet you Eric will interest, don't.
You had to say that right now. That song's going to be on my mind on the way out.
Deuce is singing the new national anthem of the United States.
That Ted Turner wanted. Douchebag. Yeah, he caved. If you are looking for some other great independent podcasts to check out, we highly recommend these podcasts. The Evening Radio Podcast with Jason and Mindy, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The Who's Right Podcast with Doug and Anthony, part of the Hush Your Face Network. I can't wait. I really am now excited. I hope Anthony don't puss out and not write that 5 minutes, because I can't wait to get up and do it, see how it works out. It's kind of a neat experiment.
And you are going to promote and shout them out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell he was talking about.
Well, okay.
You explained it to me, but I know you got to explain it to the audience. But I'm listening to this like, when did we not shout them out?
Yeah, I know. So, I actually sent them an apology. I don't know if they're going to play it. Should I play it here? Should I actually play the?
Yeah, you might as well, because they'll drop their episode before you do.
Yeah, I guess you will. I guess they will. Mostly. That's true. Yeah, they'll. So this is basically what happened. Back, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes ago, there was a Twitter war that I had had nothing to do with Doug and Anthony, but they didn't like the way I handled it. So they got the case of the ass, and Doug stopped talking to me. So then I was like, oh, well, whatever. And so then we had made a kind of a bit out of it where I wouldn't shout them out. And then you ended up, and I said the Who's Right podcast with Anthony. And what I did was I took the shout out in the show notes. We talked about them every week. We never missed it. Never missed saying.
Yeah, that's the only end that I'm aware of.
Right. So in the show notes, I had taken it out, and I forgot to put it back in again. Well, Anthony, I don't even know if he listens to the podcast, but I guess he goes over and looks at the show notes. I don't know if he listens or not. I have no idea. So he told Doug that, oh yeah, we're not in their show notes anymore. So then Doug starts ripping, us, not ripping us, but he's like, yeah, they don't shout us out anymore, and that's fine, and all this. And I'm like, what's he talking about? That's
what I was scratching my head. I was driving to work.
Right.
Like, what?
So then I sent a text over. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, we're not in your show notes. So I go look, and they're not. So I'm like, well, okay, you actually have a point. So I recorded this and sent it to Doug. Hello, this is John from the Brand X Podcast. On behalf of the Brand X Podcast, I would like to officially apologize to Doug, Anthony, and everyone who works so tirelessly on the Who's Right podcast, which I guess would be Doug. Even though at the end of every one of our episodes, when we promote our favorite podcast, we never missed mentioning the Who's Right podcast, there was a clerical error in our show notes template, and the Who's Right podcast mention was removed. In other words, I forgot to add the Who's Right podcast back into the show notes template when Doug and Anthony were acting like two little cunts over a tweet, and I removed them. Since time heals all wounds, and Doug and I hashed out this misunderstanding, the Who's Right podcast should have been added back into our show notes template. This was my oversight. I take full responsibility. I have since rectified the issue, and the Who's Right podcast has been added back into our show notes template. It is my sincere hope that Doug and Anthony accept this apology, and we can continue to partner and promote each other's shows in the future. Sounds pretty professional, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll make everything all better. You expect Anthony to write you material now after that?
He's writing the material. I'm just doing the material. I don't know.
It's kind of a left-handed apology.
Well, what do you think? What was the thing that would bother them? Because I called them two cunts?
I can't imagine that would upset anybody.
Or did I say that
Doug's doing all the work?
Hey, listen, everything I said was true.
Doesn't Anthony do the editing?
Sometimes not. I don't know.
That's what I get out of it when I listen. He
was doing the editing.
Anthony does the editing.
And then the next thing I know, Doug was doing the editing. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does Anthony do except show up and listen, do the podcast?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Listen, I'm not saying anything about you.
It's inferred.
So then they acted like two cunts over a tweet. It was none of their goddamn business, to be quite honest with you. So there's nothing that I said in that apology that is not true.
Left-handed as it was.
Hey, listen, if I'm anything, I'm truthful. All right, let's go on with the shout-out.
The difference between us with Jason, Mindy, Stephanie, and David.
My two lovely Canadian ladies from the Great White North. I shake my head with Lisa and Sam.
The Unwritable Rant with the lovely Juliet Miranda.
Married as Fuck with Randall and Brooke.
Rob and Slim Show with Rob and Slim and Sleepy Lucas. Part of the Hush Your Face Network.
I think Slambo, you know what? I check in on them every once in a while. I'm behind on the show. I got to double check and see what's going on over there. I mean, they are funny as fuck. I don't know. It's a long show. And I'm not saying anything that it should be shorter or anything like that. It's just a little too long for me. Like I check in.
For a short attention span, Johnny?
Exactly. Yes. It's my
something
fault.
shiny.
Right. The story behind with Emily Prokop. Now, here's the thing. It was just Emily's birthday the other day.
Happy birthday.
And she did the story behind Emily Prokop. So she actually did the story behind herself. And she was like, I think people are going to say, that's pretentious. And, but I
not if Emily did it.
I did it. I listened to it today and it was fabulous. So go out and check out the story behind with Emily Prokop. And guess who's mentioned in it? Me.
See, I was just going to say, if John did a podcast on the history of John Buchanan, it would be very pretentious and self-centered and egotistical. And...
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm insulted.
You shouldn't be. Here's how that would go. Hold on. First of all, you'd probably use this as your music.
You think?
Oh. Look at me. Look at me. Let me tell you more about me. And I was editing. And then I said to Doug and Anthony. And then I said to...
Are you done?
No.
Okay.
I can go on. Anyway. Happy birthday to Emily.
There you go.
Horribly Awkward with Sean Fuller, part of the Hush Your Face Network.
The Jeff Hurt Show with Jeff and Gary. And you know what's funny? I'm sitting there and Gary, I think his name is, I'm going to screw up the way he says his name. I think it's Paquin. Anyhow, but his name is Gary Danger Paquin. And I'm like, is it actually Danger his middle name? Did somebody actually say, it's
like my real name is really Deuce?
Right. So,
or my father's name was Genghis.
I know. I'm so gullible with that kind of stuff. So, I like the show. I like the Jeff Pert show. I think it's, the two are funny. They do some trivia. I get into it. So it's a new show that we are shouting out. So if you get a chance, go over and listen to it. And I did a Facebook review on this show. We don't do that. We should ask for Facebook reviews. Like right now, if you're still listening right now, you're a fan. Okay. Sorry, but you're a fan. So why don't you go over to the Brand X Podcast Facebook page, and there's a spot over there. You can give us 5 stars and write us a little review. You can even break our balls. We don't mind. You can give us a 1-star review.
Well,
I don't
John
care.
does, but
no, I don't. Go over there and give us a review. Let's see if anybody's listening this far into the show, or we're just talking to ourselves. So if you can, and you hear this, go over to the Facebook page, go to Facebook and then go to the Brand X Podcast, and then like the page and then give us a shout out. We'd appreciate it. If you're in another country or something like that, you can still do it. Okay.
That would be cool.
It would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Everyone has a podcast with Adam and Brian.
The Bold and Belligerent Podcast with Lauren, Josh, Luke, and Adam. Dude, this podcast is just about ready to crash and burn.
Really?
I'll tell you why.
I'm about 8 back.
Okay, here's the story.
Here's the thing.
First of all, Luke, remember when he did a quarter in jail, 2 dimes and a nickel for whatever that was for? Well, apparently when you go to jail,
you have a record.
You have a record. And then if you have to try to find a job.
Good luck getting hired.
Right, exactly. So Luke's having a problem. He can't even get a job. Josh, he just had a baby. His baby's 5 months old. He is under the delusion that as long as his wife is breastfeeding and she's not getting her period, that she can't get pregnant. Guess who's pregnant? Josh's wife. So this baby, if it's like a week early, will be born within the same year.
Irish twins.
Like
me and Joe.
Exactly. So, and then Lorne, he just announces that his wife's pregnant too. So they're going to have, both of them are going to have 2 little kids running around. Whatchamacallit has no job. Luke has no job. So I don't know if they're going to be, well, here's the other thing too. Now that they're doing this and this might be the only outlet that they have. So maybe the show will get stronger. I don't know. But, sometimes they miss a week. Sometimes they're there. Sometimes they're not.
That depends on how much their wives are going to, the guys that have babies, how much their wives are going to let them run free through the wild doing podcasts.
Exactly. So, the show was really good last week. I really enjoyed it. The only thing is, and again, this is just a personal preference. They talk about the UFC. I don't know what they're talking about. So I just skipped to, past that. And then they start talking about some other stuff. And so the show was really, really good. I enjoy it. I get a kick how they start calling each other because they're all starting to hit 30 now, 30, 31. And they're like, oh, you're an old man. I'm like, I wish I could go back to 30.
45.
I'll take 45.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant Observations with Jessica, Melissa, and John.
Who?
Jessica, Melissa, and some dude named John.
That's one of my other podcasts. Just Ask Us. I got it right this week. With Jason and Stephanie.
I was waiting like a spider.
Yeah.
I'm so supportive.
I know.
This could get awkward.
Now, you don't know
about hosts.
Yeah, I can't remember their names.
It's done by a Dalek, evidently.
Right.
I don't know.
There's two Canadian ladies. They're from the east coast of Canada. One is a morning radio host. The other one's her friend. And they do about a half an hour show. I started listening to it. They're kind of like the Lisa and Sam of the East Coast. It's a good show.
Well, where are Lisa and Sam at?
Lisa and Sam are in, what are you kidding me?
I mean, what part of Canada?
They're in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
So, and these girls, I think, are on the East Coast. I forget. I don't know my Canadian.
Quebec, Toronto.
Something.
Nova Scotia.
Maybe Nova Scotia.
And Your Horse Naturally Won?
What are you talking about?
You Were So Vain by Carly Simon.
I don't even.
You don't know the lyrics of that song?
I don't have a clue to what you're talking about.
Okay.
All right.
So you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia?
Oh.
To see the total eclipse of the sun?
Oh, okay. It's funny. I mean, I didn't get it like I got the Lovin' Spoonful and 10 cc's last week. But
well, you're in the cum.
Right.
That's what John likes.
A cum reference, I'm all over. Taking a plane to Nova Scotia. I don't know what the fuck.
And Your Horse Naturally Won.
Right. So check it out. It's a very good show. The next one is a new one I started listening to. I love this show. Deuce, you won't like it because the one host leans left.
So why would I not like it?
Well, I don't know. He leans a little bit left, and you lean so much right.
I'm not so as judgmental as you. You paint this picture like I'm like such a tyrant.
You are plenty judgmental when it comes to people that are from the left.
No, I'm pretty judgmental
you call them
overall.
Lefties.
Well, they are.
Okay.
And lefties only get upset at that.
Okay, so, well, I hear you. They do a kind of a news story, and it was good. I listened to the first episode, and again, I'm just going through Twitter, and I see this show. Oh, I know what it was. There's a show called the Podcast Review Show. I listened to that, and they do a couple, and they were talking about this show, so I said, let me give it a listen. I went over, gave it a listen. I really liked it. I subscribed to it. It's a good show.
Okay. I'll listen to it.
Just check it out. I'm all over.
I mean, I do work with lefties, and we're friends.
Okay.
I'm friends with you, lefty.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm not a lefty.
Oh, moderate, like me.
I don't know why you say that. Whatever. I compromise. So, and I don't know why that's a bad thing. So do me a favor. Listen to this. And then
subscribe to the Will Rogers aspect of things.
Which is?
A moderate is, I'm paraphrasing, but a moderate whose mind is so open, who is so open-minded that his brains fall out.
Okay. Whatever. That guy loved his horse a little too much, in my opinion.
That's Roy Rogers, jackass, not Will Rogers.
Who's Will Rogers? He's the space guy.
No.
Who the fuck is Will Rogers?
You have to Google it now. I could tell you, but you wouldn't learn anything.
Again, I don't even care.
You wouldn't learn anything.
I got to fucking Google.
Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers. Listen, he was a little too close to his horse, but he did make a good roast beef sandwich.
What was the name of his horse?
Trigger.
What was the horse's original name?
Horse?
That was Dudley Do-Right's horse's name.
I don't know why that popped into my head, because I knew
Trigger's original name was Golden Cloud.
Golden Cloud?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I am the king of trivia.
Well,
semi king of trivia.
Yeah, I don't know.
When you proclaim yourself the king of anything,
right?
You're setting yourself up for a tremendous fall. Okay. Let's just say I'm passably good at trivia.
Okay. Yeah. So check out I'm asking you, Deuce, to go check out the Dumb All Over show.
Yeah, well,
and come on back and tell me what you think of it. Right. I'm interested to see what you think about it. To be quite honest with you, I found it.
Let me get a few episodes in.
Whatever.
Well, because I find that it's been my experience, you just can't judge a podcast on one show because you really don't know all the nuances.
I agree.
You don't know what the terrain is like.
I agree with that. Sometimes you do, but then sometimes you grab one and you're like, damn, this could get awkward. First show I listened to.
Oh, yeah.
It was like it grabbed me. Lisa and Sam. I shake my head with it. As soon as I heard that, I was like, it's Jeff Pert's show. That's another one that really grabbed me right away. And then this one here, as soon as I listened to it, I was like, yeah, I like this show. So I immediately subscribed to it. Sometimes I won't subscribe to it. I'll pull like 4 or 5 of them, listen to it. And if I like it at the end of those 4 or 5, then I'll subscribe. That's how I do it.
Okay.
We have one left.
It's all about me.
Right.
The Shiznit Show.
Now, that's the one that I actually found that show from Jason and Mindy.
Right.
That's
too.
with Dino and, oh my gosh, I can't remember their names. I was listening to it today.
You should
write shit down.
Yeah, like you went to all the trouble to type everything up in blue and red text so we can read it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Figure why you're in there doing that.
I think her name's Monique. I forget. And then the other guy, the gay guy, I forget his name. The show was really funny. The last one I was listening to was just the latest episode. It was really funny because they were talking about 420.
Hitler's birthday. And then, the pot smoking. And apparently, Monique, you know what? I shouldn't even say her name. I feel bad. Next week, I will have the names down. Like I said, I don't know. I'm having a brain fit. Maybe right Jimmy will be here too.
Maybe. We'll see. And they were talking about, and they were talking about 420. And I really enjoyed the show. It was very, very funny. But I only got halfway through it before we got. So the first half of the show, I know it's funny.
Say you passed out.
I fell asleep. No, that's not true.
Hey, how you making out with that sugar thing? You talked about it last week.
You hear me now. I'm a little bit better than I was last week.
You're more lucid.
Yeah. Like last week, I couldn't even remember my name or where I lived. It's a little bit better now. I'm not as foggy, but who knows?
Did you lose any more weight? Last week you were 7 pounds?
I gained 2 pounds this week.
Oh, here, have some sugar. What did you eat?
I don't want to tell you because that's after, our latest podcast with Emily is called the Hate the Weight podcast. So if you want to know what happened.
No, that's working real well for you.
It's the second podcast. All right. Don't break my balls.
No, I just find it ironic that you're doing a podcast on how to lose weight. You sit here and tell me that
we're not doing a podcast. It's not a podcast on how to lose weight.
Well,
it's a podcast about, our journey on the on the weight loss process. Sometimes you have a setback. I don't know. I blame it on water retention.
I'm big bone.
Get on the scale. And again, I could have lied. I could have said, "Oh yeah, I'm down 2 pounds."
You can't lie.
I can't lie because first of all, that's such bullshit.
Because you do that sidelong look.
Yeah, well, again,
when you lie, or not that you're, when
I lie,
when you're not entirely truthful, you know what your thing is?
No, I have a tell?
Yeah.
What is it?
You heard this?
Do I really?
Yeah. You drop your eyes down, and then you look to the left, and then you bring your eyes back up.
Oh, that's a poker tell. I got to watch that. That could be one of the reasons why I get caught bluffing all the time.
Yeah.
Damn.
There's a guy that I used to work with. He said, "God damn it, you are the most observant motherfucker I've ever seen in my life."
I'll tell you what, you can make a lot of money on the poker tables if you can be observant like that and catch guys' tells. Mm-hmm. Because I've been playing poker for 5 or 6 years and I've never had anybody tell me that. But
they're not going to tell you.
Of course not.
I don't play poker against you. If I did, I wouldn't have told you either.
Just keep looking down there, fat boy, and I'll keep taking them chips.
Down and to the left. Okay, he's got nothing. I call.
Well, the nice thing now is now that I know that, when I'm real strong, I'll drop my eyes down to the left and look back up again and get them the call. You can always if you can find out your tell and these people have been taking advantage of you, you can always take that tell and use it against
you. You also purse your lips a little bit, Simon. It's like that. Just like that.
Just like that. I got you. All right.
Easy. Just like
that. That's a porn thing, isn't it?
Yes.
I can't remember. So we're talking French again. You saw a porn one time.
You saw the porn thing with me.
I did?
Yeah, it was somebody's bachelor party. So it was like
I don't even remember this.
Okay. Remember Fat Mama Jama?
Oh. Oh. That's right.
That's an epic story.
We were having a bachelor party for, I don't remember who.
This was the run up to the bachelor.
We were having a run up. It might have been yours.
No, it was.
I can't.
Nah, I think it was Don's.
I mean, the bitter Asian. I mean, now I got to bleep that.
Yep.
So we were having a bachelor party, and I had to go get the porn. This is back in the days where you had to
VHS.
VHS. You had to go to the store. You had to go behind the curtain. You had to look to see if anybody was around.
The original walk of shame.
You had to go in there.
No internet then.
No. So then I go in there, and I'm looking for a porn, to watch, and I see this one, and it's called Bad Mama Jamma. And this lady's probably about 5'6". It's got to go 350, 400 pounds.
If not more.
She was huge. And I'm like, I got to get this just for the comedic value. Little did I know.
It got better.
We popped the tape in because we're gonna preview it before the bachelor party.
Yeah, we're drinking beers and
this is at my place.
Pizza and beers, and
we pop it in, and it's these 14-year-old kids got in there, and they dubbed their voice over the movie.
They made it into like a documentary,
right? And
they were doing play-by-plays.
And I think that's where it was easy,
just like that.
It was
one of the funniest was when they had her standing there, and the two guys were next to her, and one of the kids goes, "Here we have Bad Mama Jamma just standing casually naked on the corner." And that's basically what was going on.
It was the narration made it the funniest.
Priceless.
It was crazy. And then as we're watching this and we're laughing our ass off, my girlfriend walks in. She walks in the house, and I have the VCR and the TV. So what I'm doing is I'm switching it from she walks in.
Sixers game.
And the Sixers game's on. And then all of a sudden she turns her back to us, and I hit the button again, and there's Bad Mama Jamma on right behind her. And, these guys are like
laughing because Sandy doesn't know what's going on.
Right. Like these two guys are,
and she's like thinking like
we're laughing at her.
Yeah, like and something's wrong with her clothes or something.
Right, and she turns around and looks at the TV. And it's just as she starts to turn her head, I turn it back to the Sixers game. And then she was there, and she's standing next to the TV, and she's talking to us. Meanwhile, these two guys are banging. They're rotisserieing Bad Mama Jamma. And we're rolling on the floor. I figured if I was ever going to get laid again, I actually had to show her what we were talking about.
That was funny. It might have been the Bitter Asian Man's.
It might have been the Bitter Asian
because that's where later on the stripper said, "What's with the chick?" The only guy I ever seen in my life that was miserable in a strip club.
Right. Yeah.
No wonder the marriage crashed and burned after 8 months.
He played the brooding pussy.
The brooding loner.
Right.
Oh, these strippers will think I'm hot.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
I have a lot on my soul.
Right. And the one stripper walks up to Deuce and says, "What's wrong with the chink?"
To which I just guffawed uproariously. And you were sitting right there, too.
Oh.
And Dandy Don. It was the three of us were right there. It was just like the look was like, she's like, she looked at him with disgust.
Right. She gives him
and then turned back to us and said that. It was
what's wrong with the chink?
Oh, it was funny as shit.
He's getting married. That's what's wrong with him.
Yeah. That's funny as shit. Easy. Just like that.
One fucking day, I would love to be able to stop a recording before 2 hours.
For that 2 hours?
2 hours and 1 minute.
So much for that hour shit.
Jeez.
Well, you can edit a lot of it out.
I know, but then I have another show. I have another show.
And I see that you put a poll out on the Lost episode 66.
Shall I really quickly look at the poll and see where we're at?
Well, it was 80-20 last time. I voted yes.
You want it out?
I think it's pretty good. You're just being hard on yourself.
I don't know.
You're just easily led.
That's what they say. Like episode 66. Wow, 82% yes. All right, we'll put it out.
There you go.
Only 17 votes, though. But still.
Nevertheless.
I want 100 votes.
So you want that up there for weeks?
No. I want 100 votes. That's what I want.
How many votes are there? 17? That's 63 more votes.
Excuse me? 63.
I just throwing numbers at you.
You're a little... Oh, wait a minute. Here's a message. Oh, no. I thought this was from...
Crying here.
Right.
Bad Mama Jamma. Fuck.
Yeah, this is what Anthony wrote. He said, "Why don't you let me write you some jokes and you do 5 minutes of open mic with my material?" I said, perfect. Absolutely do that and record it, because if I bomb, I can blame it on you. If it kills, it's my delivery. Win-win for me. And he says, I will get my monkeys banging away on that typewriter ASAP.
Do you know what that reference is?
No.
See, this is why you should read literature.
What? What is it?
That you have to look it up.
Oh, that's
Along
never
with
happened.
Will Rogers.
I could care less.
Got a lot of homework.
I'm not doing it.
That's the old expression. You could have an infinitesimal amount of monkeys in a room with typewriters, and eventually they'll type out the works of Shakespeare. Never heard that, have you? Went right by you in school. Space shuttle right over your fucking head.
Right over. All right. Get the fuck out of here. If you've enjoyed this show, it's a fucking amazing thing. Please do us a favor. Tell a few friends. Even share this podcast on your social media accounts. It's easy to do. We are on these social media platforms. Go to Facebook, facebook.com/BrandXPodcast. Give us a review. Write us a review. Even if it's bad, we don't care. We're on the Twitter @BrandXPodcast. On the Instagram @BrandXPodcast. Just like and follow us and share us with your friends. And we would also love it if you join in the conversation. Now, you can email us at brandxpodcast@gmail.com.
But you won't.
And you can call into the Times Yours voicemail at 856-322-2473.
But you really won't.
And you can leave us a message and we will feature you on the next Times Yours segment. Now, here's another thing. If you go on your phone, if you have an iPhone, because I did this, if you bring up the Safari app, you go to the brandxpodcast.com, our website, scroll down the bottom, it says call me. You hit that, or call us. You hit that button, there's a speak pipe button there. You can go in and leave us a message. And
you won't.
And you won't. But you can.
You could.
You could.
But you won't.
That would happen. If you don't do any of that, if you could just share the show with one friend that you think that would find this show funny, find that person. Like, I have to go search for Will Rogers and some monkey typing on a typewriter. You guys got to find one person you could share the show with, and we would really appreciate it. I do mean that.
Yeah, we would.
Yes, we would. All right. So we'll be back next week with another episode of the Brand X Podcast.
See ya.
Will you shut the fuck up so I can end the recording?
That's it. We're just getting into it.